And just notice for another moment or two the natural breath as it comes into and leaves the body. So notice how the inhale comes in through the nose. And then notice where the inhale goes. It goes into the throat, all the way down into the belly. And then notice where the exhale goes as well. Notice the parts of the body that start to relax on the exhale. And that's kind of like the really cool thing about our breath. We don't have to control it. We don't have to force it. It just happens. And usually, like from the moment we wake up in the morning, we start moving throughout our day and we don't even take the time to really notice our breath. So like actually slow down and just notice how you're breathing. Notice the quality of your breath. And then as you're starting to become more aware of the breath, notice if you can start to deepen the breath as well. So imagine that you're taking longer inhales through the nose and filling up the body. And then send your exhale even farther, maybe all the way down the legs, into the feet. Again, feel the inhale come in through the nose, filling up all the way through the shoulders and the arms and the head. And then as you exhale, send the exhale all the way down the body into the legs and the feet. Just breathing nice and deep. As you inhale, imagine that the inhale is connecting all of the different parts of the body. So you're sending the inhale all the way past the biceps, the forearms into the fingers. And then the exhale is going all the way down the spine, into the legs and the toes. Sometimes the hardest part in yoga is just being still. Because like I said, like the moment we wake up in the morning, our minds are constantly working and thinking about a million different things that we have to do or that we have going on. And so like when we're actually still, the hardest part is quieting our minds and allowing ourselves to just be still. It's a part of just slowing down, becoming aware of the stillness, becoming aware of all of the different thoughts or emotions that come up. Just take a few more breaths in and out. And then let's just start to invite some small movements into the toes. So maybe just start to wiggle the toes. Whether you have socks on or not, just maybe try to imagine that you're spreading the toes apart from each other. And then start to find the same movements in the fingers. So maybe start to wiggle through the fingers. Maybe like making fists with the fingers. And then spreading the fingers away from each other. Just starting to become aware of the farthest parts of the body. And then from here, we're just gonna pull our knees into our chest. So we're gonna pull both knees into the chest and wrap the hands around the knees. And then interlace the fingers or just hold on to the shins, but keep your head and shoulders connected to the floor. And then just feel the weight of the legs pressing the middle and the lower back into the ground. And just feel the ground there supporting you. And then from here, just find a subtle swaying motion side to side. So not big sways where we're falling off to the left and right, but just a tiny, tiny sway side to side. Just massaging the lower back and the shoulders. And then notice if just by pulling the legs into the chest, you started to hold your breath. See if you can keep breathing into the spine and into the shoulders. And then the only thing that we're gonna change from here, we're just gonna allow our left leg to grow out nice and long against the floor. So keep the right knee pulling in towards the heart and send the left leg against the ground. And then maybe just try to pull this right knee just a little bit closer to the heart. Just creating a nice big stretch in the right thigh and hip. And then as we're doing this, we're really pressing the left leg into the ground. So we're trying to press the left leg muscles into the floor, and the left toes face the sky. And then maybe just try to rotate through the right ankle. So make circular motions with the right ankle. And then rotate the opposite direction, so rotate the circles opposite. Maybe point and flex the toes. And then we're just gonna send the right leg long to match the left. So send the right leg long. And then just relax both legs. So don't hold on to any effort in the legs. Let the body become nice and heavy again against the floor. And then just notice if you feel any difference between the right and left side, even if it's really subtle. Sometimes just a little bit of stretching can send energy or blood circulation down into that leg. So just notice if you feel that at all in the right side. And then when you're ready, we're gonna pull both knees back into the chest. Again, wrapping the hands around the shins or interlacing the fingers. And then from here, just let the right leg grow long against the mat and pull the left knee into the chest. And then really press the right leg into the floor so the right toes face the sky. And just try pulling the left knee as close as you can to the heart. And then maybe start to make circular motions with the ankle. And if you're rotating in one direction, rotate in the opposite direction. Maybe point and flex the toes. And then when you're ready, we're gonna pull the opposite leg back into the chest, so both knees come back in. And then when you're ready, we're gonna take the feet to the floor and the knees face the sky. So feet to the floor, knees face the sky. And then let the arms grow long against the sides of the body. It's like you're reaching your fingers towards your heels. And then maybe try to walk your heels in just a little bit closer to the bottom. Almost like you're reaching your longest finger towards the back of your heel. And then tuck the chin slightly, but keep the head on the mat so you can really feel a nice long line from your tailbone, your lower back, all the way through the spine into the neck and the head. And then start to press into the feet and the arms so much that you start to lift your hips to the sky. So we're all gonna lift our hips towards the sky, coming into a bridge pose. And then as you're lifting the hips away from the floor, you're pressing into the feet, the biceps, the forearms, and the hands. Even pressing into the shoulders and the back of the head. So take one more breath in as you push the hips just a little bit higher. And then exhale, slowly start to lower the hips all the way back down to the floor. And then we're gonna walk our feet out towards the side edges of the mat. So feet out towards the sides. And then bring your knees together. Knees together and rest the lower back on the ground. And just sort of let the knees support each other here. Just take a deep breath in and out. And then when you're ready, we're gonna walk the feet back in line with the hips. And we're gonna find that bridge pose again. So there's a little bit of a distance between the feet, hips distance. And then really start to feel the feet and the arms pressing into the ground. And then as you find that engagement, send the hips to the sky. So lift the hips towards the sky. Lift the hips towards the sky. Keep pressing into the feet, pressing into the arms, pressing into the shoulders. Take one breath in and out. And then slowly lower the hips all the way back down to the ground. And then just pause here for a moment, letting the lower back find the floor. And then we're gonna find one more bridge pose. So when you're ready, start to press into the feet, the shoulders, and the arms, and send the hip points towards the sky. So really activate through all of the parts of the body that are touching the floor. As you press the feet, lift the hips just a little bit higher. Take a breath in and out. Stay here, one more big breath in. Keep pressing the hips towards the sky, opening up through the backside. And then exhale, slowly lower all the way back down to the ground. And then from here, knees are gonna come back into the chest. And we're just gonna grab behind the thighs. So instead of wrapping our hands around the shins, wrap the hands around the thighs. And then instead of swaying side to side, we're all gonna pull ourselves up into a nice tall seat. And then as you arrive in your seat, just crawl over the hands and feet into a tabletop position. So we're gonna come onto all fours. And then as you come onto all fours, untuck the tops of the feet so the tops of the feet press into the ground. And bring your knees right underneath the hips and your hands right underneath the shoulders. So a nice strong tabletop, and then look right in between the thumbs. So try to keep that nice long line of energy from the tailbone all the way up the spine through the top of the head. And then take a deep breath in and out. And then from here, we're gonna bring our knees out towards the side edges of the mat. The big toes are gonna come to touch, and we're gonna sink our hips back towards our heels. So we're crawling the hands out over the head, and then we're resting our head on the ground. Just allow the hips to get nice and heavy towards the heels, almost like your heels are forming a little cup for the hips to sit in. And then just allow the forehead to rest nice and heavy on the floor. Maybe imagine that you're breathing in to the point where the forehead connects to the ground. And then allow the shoulders and the head and the arms. Just allow everything to get nice and heavy and relaxed. Try not to hold on to extra effort in the biceps. And then try to breathe really deep here. So as you inhale, feel the rib cages expanding towards the side. And then as you exhale, feel the hips maybe get just a little bit heavier. Take another big breath in and out. And then when you're ready, we're gonna start to pull ourselves up into a half push-up. So we're all gonna start to pull our hips over our knees and send our shoulders just a little bit forward. And then when you're ready, allow the hips to start dropping towards the ground and press into the hands. So our shoulders are almost lifted over the wrists. Our hips are sending down into the floor. And then when you're ready, start to shift all the way back to your child's pose. So we're just finding some movement in the spine. So as you come back to your child's pose, pause and take a breath. And then when you're ready to move again, start to pull yourselves all the way back up to that half push-up position. And then start to let the hips fall towards the floor, pressing into the tops of the feet and the palms, and lifting the heart over the hands. And then as you're ready, again, just start to shift the hips back towards the heels. So move nice and slow, and with your breath, find movement that feels good for you. When you rest in child's pose, just notice the hips falling towards the heels. And then if you're ready to start moving again, start to pull yourself up, half push up. Hips fall to the ground. Little baby back bend in the spine. Press into the feet, press into the hands. Let's just find that 2 more times. So coming back to child's pose 2 more times. Inhale, starting to come forward, dropping the hips, lifting the heart, pressing into the hands. Exhale, child's pose. And then we're just gonna pause in child's pose for a moment. We're gonna take our right hand and slide it underneath the left side. So right hand pulls underneath the body and comes underneath the left arm. And then just try to let the head fall nice and heavy into the floor. Try to let the hips fall heavier towards the heels. And then the pressure of the torso on the ground is creating this stretch in the upper body. So just try to lean into that and breathe into the back side as much as you can. Take a big inhale and exhale. And then when you're ready, just slowly start to return back to your child's pose, both arms forward over the head. And then all we're gonna do here is switch sides. So we're gonna take the left arm and slide it underneath the right side and turn the left side of our head towards the floor. And then let the right hand stay reaching over the head. Hips fall heavy towards the heels. Really press into the shoulder, press into the side of the head, and take a deep breath in. Take one more inhale. And exhale. And then when you start to come out of this, just come back to your child's pose. And then when you're ready to move from here, come back to your tabletop position. So pull yourself up into all fours. And then from your tabletop, we're gonna tuck our toes. So toes tuck under. And then we're gonna lift our knees off of the ground to a hover. So knees are hovering an inch off of the ground. So really press into the hands here. Look right in between the thumbs. Spread the fingers out. Knees are just like an inch or two off the floor. Feel the core muscle groups start to engage. And then when you're ready, start to lift the hips high and straighten the legs, coming into a downward facing dog. And then we want a little bit of space between the feet. So imagine there's like 2 hands in between the feet. And then send the hips as high as you can. And send your heart towards your hips. And then as you do this, try to lengthen your heels towards the floor. And then from here, bend into the knees. So bend into one knee and then the other. Just pedaling out the feet. As you pedal out the feet, keep pressing nice and deep into the hands. So we're just opening up through the backs of the legs, through the shoulders. Maybe you come really high onto the tippy toes and then lower the heels back towards the floor. And then when you're ready, we're gonna walk our hands to our feet. So we're slowly gonna start to walk our hands all the way back to our feet, and then we're gonna arrive in a forward fold. So our feet are all the way touching the ground. There's a little bit of a bend behind our knees, and then just let the chest rest on the thighs. Chest rest on the thighs, let the head get really heavy. Let the arms and shoulders fall towards the floor. And then maybe take opposite elbows here. So framing the head with the arms. And maybe you start to like sway side to side. Just letting the spine unravel, letting the feet and the legs support you here. Keep breathing, take an inhale and exhale. And then from here, we're gonna lift halfway. So hands are gonna lift and touch our shins or our thighs. And then we're gonna imagine that we can eat our dinner off of our back. So we want a really nice flat spine. We don't wanna arch our spine. We wanna pull our shoulders onto our backs and send our head away from our hips. So find that nice, long, flat spine. And then when you're ready, start to fold forward. Maybe you fold just a little bit deeper, allowing the head to surrender towards the feet. And then from here, the arms and head are gonna stay super long and heavy, but we're gonna start to eventually make our way up into a standing position. So arms and head are the last to lift. Keep the arms nice and long as you start to push through the feet. And slowly, 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 slowly bring the shoulders over the hips. So just come all the way up to stand. And then start to squeeze your shoulders towards your ears and roll them down the back. Hands arrive at your sides. Find the feet on the floor, the head reaching towards the sky, and maybe close your eyes or just look out in front of you and take a deep breath in and out. And then start to send the hands back to the sky and maybe gaze past the thumbs, bringing the palms together. And then when you're ready, pull the palms through the center of the body as you fold back over the legs. So hands and head reach back towards the feet. Nice big forward fold, allow the head to relax completely. And then when you're ready, we're all gonna walk our hands away from our feet into a high plank position. So hands are out underneath the shoulders. Heels are pressing away from the head. Look right in between the thumbs. And then in your high plank, you want to feel like you're sending the backs of the knees towards the sky. So really activate through the leg muscles. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Take one more breath in and out.